Hey, so welcome to the Mount Tabor circuit race that took place on June 23rd, 2021. Again, for those that are new to this race, the race course is on an extinct volcano, Mount Tabor Park, and each lap is around 1.3 miles long with around 134 feet of elevation gain. Today marks the 4th race out of the 6 race series, and my name is Dennis. I'm going to be racing in Cat 5, which is 6 laps. As you will see later, this becomes a pretty big issue for a lot of riders. And we're right now around 20 seconds out from the start, and everyone is just together at the start line. There's a lot of riders in this race, so the start tends to be pretty chaotic. Just waiting for a little bit for the race official to blow the whistle, and we should be going pretty soon. Yeah, and here we go. Here's the start. So a lot of riders bunching together, but that's kind of expected. It's okay. I think, if I remember correctly, my pedal wasn't clipped in fully like for a while until like right here, so I had to surge to like catch back up. Maybe I need to practice clipping it more in the future. Yep, just letting other people know where I am so we don't like run into each other. Just keeping us safe out there. And if you recall from last Mount Tabor race, I crashed because I wasn't paying attention after hanging on to the main group because I got really super tired. And I crashed around this part in the gutter on the left. So this race I'm going to try to be doing the same thing, trying to hang on to the main group and also being cautious about where I am. And a top 30 finish will be pretty good for me. Yeah, here we have on the descent. So I'm not like super great at the descent part because I don't know why, but I usually get left behind in the descent. So I try to draft off other people, find as much draft as possible to keep up. Maybe because I'm like more of like a lighter rider, but I'm not sure. Yeah, here you can already see the field is a little bit strung out during these descents, so everyone's trying to surge and trying to catch back up. So this is like where it matters. Like if you start in the big front of the race, you don't have to like try to sprint to catch back up. You can conserve a lot of energy at the front. Luckily, I think during the flatter section right here, the pack slows down, so we're able to catch back up. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good right now. Carb rate's around like 182, so not bad. And during these, the first lap, it's usually like the fastest because everyone is really full of energy and trying to go fast. I'm just a little bit, there's a little gap right now, but I'm just trying to protect my front wheel, making sure no one's going across. And I'm still getting the draft right now, but it's just not like the best draft. And also we're uphill right now, so drafting is not too big of a problem. And during these races, you also have to watch out for the potholes on the ground, because if you don't watch out, you're going to get a flat tire. Looks like right now most of the fields stay together. And what you'll notice was the field being like so big and staying together, especially on this race course during the corners and the descents where there's like curves. You're going to see a lot of people being like strung out. So if you're towards the back, you gotta put a lot of effort into catching back on. So again, you want to be at the front so you don't get like left behind. And here I just try to look for someone to draft off, like, and during this part, this is like the hardest part for me because you have to kind of, even though it's kind of like you're going downhill already, you got to like push on the pedals pretty hard right now to keep up with everyone. So you don't really actually get any breaks until like further down at the curves, because at here you're still trying to pedal to keep up with everyone. And you see here I let a gap open, which I'm slowly closing in on the downhill. I just try to keep a pretty aero tuck, not like the actual ECI band aero tuck, but I try to stay as low as possible during these descents to try to maximize my speed. During this corner, it's if you don't brake, you can usually, if you're not going super fast, like you can usually just like coast through the corners, and sometimes you can catch up to other people. So that's what I do right here. I get on this guy's wheel just to conserve energy during the flat section, because I know that if I get dropped during a flat or during the descent, there's pretty much no chance of me getting back on, so I try to just keep a good draft. And then you see here we're kind of a little bit distant from the field, but I have faith in the guy in front of me to be able to catch back on. So I just try to keep stick to his wheel as best as possible to conserve as much energy as possible. And I don't do a terribly good job at it. My heart rate's up to 191, which is like, I'm starting to suffer a bit. But I kind of expected that to happen if I was going to stick to the front of the group, because I know that they're going to be fast. Yeah, right here we're just with the front group through the flat section. I find, yeah, I think from what I've like seen, the best time to attack is like during this part where it's like a slight uphill. So if you attack right now, people don't really get much draft because everyone's like going below 20 miles per hour. And then when you get to the top of the hill, since it's downhill, so if you're good at descending, so you can really get a gap open up. Yeah, here, just again, downhill is not my strength, so I try to keep get some draft to keep up. Luckily, yeah, see right here, I let a gap open, but I think I recovered, so I just like get as aero as possible, and hopefully, yeah, eventually, I think just keep my speed up and try to be able to get back onto the other people's wheels. Yeah, right here, a little big gap, just slowly, smoothly try to cover it. And usually right before the uphill, like at this Cadence area, people also slow down a little bit, so I eventually catch up, and I just had to surge on the uphill, which is like not very good to do. You just want to keep it during these races, you want to keep your power output as consistent as possible, so you conserve as much energy. And here I'm back with the pack. I think still feeling pretty good. Obviously, my heart rate's like 193, but I don't think I was feeling that tired at the moment. And of course, during the race, I wasn't looking at my computer because I was like just so focused on putting the power down. Like, I wasn't even counting the laps. I think I was just following the other people, just not even looking at my power meter, just trying to keep up, stay with the pack. Alright, and here we go, right? Like, right at this section, I find people tend to attack around this section, like people, because they're getting to the top of this hill, so people want to just like give it a big surge. And I can't really see the front of the race, but there might be some distance like between the riders, but people just like to do a surge right here to get to the top of the hill and try to get a gap open up. Ooh, look at him. I'm just looking at my heart right now. I'm at 198 beats per minute. My max heart rate's like 200, like around 200, so I'm getting pretty near my limit. And see here, during the downhill section, I just can't keep up, so I just let a gap open. Hopefully someone else closes the gap, so I'm trying to get on this guy's wheels so I can get some draft. But I don't think not sure. Yeah, I sort of got on this guy's wheel, but you see the gap is kind of still opening up. Yep. Luckily, the pack like slows down here, so I'm able to conserve my speed and catch back up, which is pretty good for me since I don't have to waste extra energy. Back on this person's wheel. And during these sections, especially during this flat section, there's like a couple of bumps which can throw you off if you're not like watching out for them. Because I remember like usually during the first lap, you could feel the bumps like throwing you off your saddle, so you gotta hold on tight or else you might crash. And yeah, from that short break, I was able to keep my heart rate, like get it down to 190, which is pretty good. And I had a few sips of drinks while I was like on the descent. So, still feeling relatively okay right now. Basically, like from what I've learned from all these races is that no matter what you do, don't let go of the person in front of you. So always keep a draft. Unless you're like the person in front of you is getting dropped from the group, you might want to surge to keep up with the group. Because during this race, it's like downhill especially, it's really high speed, so if you don't get a draft and during the flat section you're all by yourself, it's really hard to catch back up. And I saw from my lap time on Strava that if you stay on with the group, you really get a faster lap time, because with all the draft and other people serving as pacemakers, you can really keep up and get a faster time. And probably not during this race, but in the future, I think it'll be pretty fun to be on the very front of the pack, like maybe taking a few pulls. That'll be kind of a goal, like a mini goal for me in the future. And here during this corner, pretty tight inside line. And you see here, everyone like getting out their saddle just to sprint a little bit to keep up the speed. So I think everyone's like right now, I think everyone's settled down. So until the 6th lap, which is like supposedly the last lap, everyone's probably just gonna sit in and just keep on conserving energy. And then right here, so you can see just like staying with the pack, just being together, you gotta like conserve a lot of energy. So that's all, pretty much all about this race. Conserve energy, wait till you get a chance to attack either like from the sprint or if you want to get a breakaway going. Just keep on conserving energy. And also during these corners, these uphill parts, people tend to like not get into like a single file, like not, so people tend to spread out. So you also have to watch out for people on your left and right, and especially when there's potholes in the road, people might be swerving left or right to try to avoid them. So you got to be really on the lookout for other people coming around. Yeah, here a little bit squeezed to the side. It's okay. Didn't go off. People usually, the section that we just passed, there's a sidewalk area. So some people take that as like a shortcut to get ahead, but I don't really like doing that because I'm afraid I'm going to lose control going over the sidewalk. There's like a little divot that comes down, so I just try to keep on the rail as much as possible. And during this corner at the top, there's also a lot of potholes, so you got to be careful to not like go directly into a pothole. And here, I'm just like, my heart rate's 196, 195. So I just don't really have the energy to close the gap anymore. So I just try to pedal as much as I can on the downhill. And hopefully, crossing my fingers, I can get back on. So I got on this person's wheel, which helps. I could slow down, like not pedal as hard as possible during these corners to save some energy, and then surge a little bit more to get on this prize wheel. Yeah, and at this point it's towards the end of the race, so everyone is just trying to push ahead. So you see the field is like strung out. This was supposedly the last lap, I believe. So that's why everyone now is like sprinting hard, because everyone wants to finish higher up. And being me, I just keep my cadence high above 110, as much power as possible. But I'm like at 200 beats per minute, so I'm just like suffering now. I just grit my teeth, let the other riders know where I am. Just try to hold on till the finish. Yeah. And this section is just brutal because you're just like, your heart's exploding and you're just trying to keep it together and get to the finish line. Yep, and so after 6 laps, mostly stay with the pack. I'm pretty happy, but as you'll see, the announcers ring the bell, which I didn't notice. And this is, so what happened is, actually the announcers, I think they messed up the lap count during some point of the race. So this race actually turned out to be a 7-lap race. And you see there's some people still going ahead, and there's also like a quarter of the field is like thinking it's already over, since usually it's 6 laps, and also the announcers announced beforehand it's 6 laps. So people are like confused. Some people are still going ahead, and other people are already like pulling off the race and going home. And I'm right at this point. I just had no clue it was a 7-lap race. So I'm just like doing my cool down lap now. Just taking it easy. Yeah. So in the end, this race, so I stay with the main group for this pretty much the entirety of this race, the 5 laps, let me correct myself. But this race turned out to be 7 laps. So in the end, I think I finished like 50th place, because they just added the people that didn't finish the 7 laps towards the end. Although this race didn't end it how I wanted it to, but I'm pretty glad I was able to hang on to the front group and partially reach my goal. So that's going to be all for this video, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.